Hey Jamie. See,
Hey.
whenever I am, I don't like guns. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like knives.
That is true.
Yeah, I don't like guns because I'm a knife man because I believe in self-defense, not offense, and I believe that I was trained in a certain manner, and there's been no advancements in either edge weapons or firearms that really would make me change and sway. And I say this because we're about to release a video next week which mentions that I had a pocket knife on me, but as a human being who finds himself in the real estate business as well as a father, I'm constantly using a knife for, I took the net down that my kids ripped because of a YouTube challenge.
There's
They always
nothing
have
illegal
late-
about carrying it.
Nothing whatsoever, but it's the perception, and if I am to go into a courthouse where I'm interacting with a member of law enforcement who should find himself at the mercy of humans that are looking to do harm and they're in harm's way, I have no interest in even having my utility knife on me.
Sure.
And I took it out for this video on purpose because in next week's videos, we're really gonna see the shame in police departments that are not able to understand just how much impact their conduct is on
Yes.
human beings that are faced with extreme stress and trauma. So for example, I had $10 million stolen from me,
Yes.
as well as my life's work and business and buildings.
Yes.
That's all gonna be proven in bankruptcy court as well as federal court or even the Supreme Court. I don't give a shit, okay? These properties are mine. There's nothing to debate about. If human beings are able to systemically manipulate the courts, so for example, Donald Trump is currently waging a war against certain district judges and federal judges that have been randomly selected to his cases who are really adverse to his agenda.
Correct.
And that really is not constitutional, but unlike Donald Trump and the entire front of the federal administration, I, Daniel M. Reeses, with the help of Jamie Resnick, have been able to catch several judges actually committing fraud actively right now. So for example, Judge Esther Salas, got her, and there's no debate about it. So you have Judge Esther Salas, who is in cahoots with Senator Bob Menendez, and who was, quote, randomly assigned to my cases, suppressing my cases and destroying my constitutional right at a fair and balanced and unbiased day in court.
Correct.
While
Or a day in court.
Well, I haven't seen a day in court in 2 years. I don't even. There's just
Or
really
just a day in
anything.
court.
So you have. Well put, Jamie. Well put. Now a lot of people won't believe this. Now, when you file a federal lawsuit, you're supposed to see a judge within 30 days, maybe 60 days or something like that. It's been over 2 years, and I haven't seen a single federal judge in my multiple matters. So for someone to say that my lawsuits are frivolous, they're just in denial of a conspiracy being orchestrated against me.
Right.
There is no frivolity. I don't know, is it a word?
Yeah.
There's no frivolity in my filings. They're all legitimate filings. Everything I say on YouTube is all true. I do not commit slander. I do not commit libel. I do not lie. And the reason why I say this is because Judge Salas can't issue the gag order. That's the point. That's the point, that she is a criminal, she is involved in bribery,
Right.
she is involved in a conspiracy. Everything I'm saying is true. Why do you think that the videos are all up there without me having to address anything in court? I would love to address it in court. I fucking triple dare you. I triple dare you. You have no idea the cards I hold. I'm trying to be nice because this woman lost a child and I'm empathizing with her. But instead of actually recognizing how kind I am being and saying, look, we owe it to ourselves. Look in the mirror, everybody. If you believe that government elected officials by people have any right whatsoever to commit fraud simply based on whatever bullshit excuses they make, you should be removed from the right to vote. In our society, the right to vote is really a privilege. It really is something that cannot be taken for granted.
Okay.
But if you do not give a shit that your right to vote leads to billions of dollars being shifted over to an unknown location in the Middle East. All for the betterment of a bribe that Senator Bob Menendez got. You have no business voting. Because who are you voting for? How are you able to justify your existence as a citizen? Forget about politics and judges.
Okay.
I'm a nobody. If I voted for Bob Menendez, I would be so fucking furious as to what he did with my trust. And that's where the audacity of the judges that are committing these fraudulent acts really is nauseating, because their whole thing is that no one cares.
Well, yeah, it's different. It's the judge's relationship with the senator and regular people, everyday people who voted for him. I just don't think they care.
So it's, like I said, it's a shame. This human being was selected as an honorable judge who already, I just wanted to remind you what relationship Judge Shamey and I have already. He has already been a presiding judge of a case that I simply won. I was unlawfully arrested and I went to trial. Do you remember this? Mm-hmm. And I was found not guilty?
Yes.
Okay. Who represented me?
No one.
So I represented myself?
Yeah.
So when have you ever heard of someone representing themselves and winning? Like
just
in the
you.
movies, right?
Like just you.
And I'm amazed at the amount of times I've actually won. And the only time I've ever lost was against Brett Rice and Bruce Nagel. And the judge in that case, do you remember the judge? How about the clerk? Stephen Gengaro.
Oh.
The clerk who interacted with the evidence that was presented in front of the judge and for the trial
Yes.
was none other than Stephen Gengaro.
Yes.
The one and only. Welcome, Stephen Gengaro,
Welcome.
an active subscriber.
Welcome.
Stephen Gengaro is the son of Chris Gengaro,
Yes.
who has a weird incestual
And
relationship
also worked
with
for
Richard Trank. So Richard Trank's son and Stephen Gengaro's son are pretty much like Stephen Gengaro works for Richard Trank, and Richard Trank's son works for the township of West Orange, who Stephen Gengaro is now representing. It is beyond incestuous. These are horrible human beings. I'm trying to stand up here and say, look guys, there are thousands of attorneys that are better. They just simply are not willing to do what these men are willing to do to get to the front of the line.
Also the clerk
for
for
Nagel.
Judge Sherwood too?
At one point, I think so. I think he was. Oh no, he was. There was something. There was some connection with the first bankruptcy
Yes.
of Porzio.
Yes.
This guy, Stephen Gengaro, got his little nibbly hands and everything. Like, he knows what he did. He's just one of those guys like, oh my God, what have I done? But at the same
Because
time,
him, the Gengaro's son, Trank's son, and Ruglieri are all members of the second, the generation underneath the gross, and they're even grosser.
they have to continue.
Of
they have
course,
nothing
they
to
have
hide.
to, so they need
They
to
have
like
no source
hide
of
in
income.
the background.
There is no way for these guys to make any money
their
except to like.
corruption.
It's like
And Tapas.
Tammy can't get over Ruglieri's tapas and sage advice. You know, there's a lot of like funny inside jokes. We want to stick to the narrative. This is Inside Out because it's there. If somebody wants to read it, that's fine.
So
They're
let's
able
talk
to.
about this.
Well, this one right here is really nauseating, and I'll tell you why. Because I have a court
You
order.
had started talking about this and said their conduct was abysmal.
I
saw it. It is abysmal.
It's how do you feel about what
violated? I mean, as your advocate,
Not just an ad. You're not even
Your
an
friend.
advocate. Just a human, a person that's watching this.
it's really.
Well, who looks better on the camera?
You.
Why?
You're being harassed and bullied and abused and made fun
I actually had a
of.
mental breakdown at the police station.
I
and
mean, the
they're-
officer was so out of line.
He was on drugs. I
He
just
was
want to
so out of line.
First and
He was
foremost,
like,
the arresting officer.
Sit down and shut up.
The arresting officer. First off,
You're
if
standing
anyone
up
that's
to take his
wondering,
picture. Where is
you
he
have
sitting
the
on the
right
floor?
to remain silent. It is not like you are. If you
You
speak,
have to shut up.
you have to shut up. It is, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do can be used against you in a court of law.
Yes.
Miranda, like these are basic
Miranda.
shit, and like these people don't know the Miranda rights. Like, shut up! Throw my head against the wall of a
It's
police
true.
car, like I'm
It's
fucking
true.
criminal. I'm on my own property, a multi-million-dollar property that I developed. I own Phillipsburger.com. If I'm the kind of person that is treated that way, I promise you, anyone will be treated this way. Anyone. If a guy who owns the property is arrested, thrown against the police car, laughed at, ridiculed, made fun of, not even given a chance to speak, invented a story where the police officer said that I'm in law enforcement, where I'm like just standing there with no beard. I'm like, oh, officer, man.
Oh my God, you're right.
There's a reason for it. So I'm like, oh, I looked as nice as I can look. I was told this is gonna happen, so I had to make sure that I went with someone that I don't have a relationship with, so I could post the video, never hear anything about it, don't really give a shit. The point is that I didn't even lie in any aspect of it. I just said in an exhausted manner. And please, I want everyone to remember that the words that came out of my mouth, not only will I stand up for later, but only after the moment of arrest is addressed. Because I didn't come into the property claiming to be a federal agent.
No, he said it when he walked in.
In the police station, I'm like, dude, I am a federal agent.
Right.
And he said, what'd you say?
He did.
He's like, I'm a Sigma 913.
I'm gonna call the Secret Service.
The Secret Service. This guy was on so much fucking drugs, and like the Phillipsburger.
Lots of caffeine, lots of
meth. What caffeine? I know for a fact that is a fucking addict. I'm telling you right now, he was vaping. I saw it on the video. Whatever it was in that substance was not a nicotine-based substance. And obviously, maybe he cleared up and drug tests won't show any of that. But the fact that this guy can be breaking police protocol and vaping in the police station, sucking down an energy drink, and continuously violating and harassing me is disturbing.
It is disturbing.
And then
they all gather around and start
oh my God, they start laughing at me. This is my property. Are you guys fucking insane?
Instead of being like, oh, this guy probably has a point. He's probably pretty upset. I'd be upset too.
Well, I actually have the law on my side. Forget about everything else. I don't even give a shit. Empathy. I have the law on my side. I'm trying to. I not only was able to prove it. Their counter arguments were like, well, at the time, there was a court order saying that you couldn't be on the property. Not true! What I was served with was, all right, look, I'm going to explain to everyone very calmly how court orders are generated. Okay. First, there's something called a court hearing. It's very hard to do a court hearing in absentia when like someone, either they're dead or somewhere on the other side of the world where like, people abscond with certain assets and things like that, so you have to do an abstention, okay? Without that, there's something called a court hearing. Prior to the court hearing, all parties must be served properly. So if you're trying to accomplish something, you have to do something called valid service. Mm-hmm. When I had my property stolen from me via the first bankruptcy, I then reverted to being a tenant of my own property because I own both entities. When I was a tenant of the property, I still had over $10 million in assets in the building.
Yes.
So I still had the right as a tenant.
Correct.
What the landlord, as well as the Warren County Sheriff's Department did, was they violated my constitutional rights by holding the hearing, not only in absentia, I was never served any of the paperwork.
Correct.
Then, once the court order was generated for me to be evicted, even though I wasn't represented,
right.
Then they showed up and said, hey, here's your papers, you've been served. They don't even know how the law works, and they collect a six-figure salary for enforcing the law. That's the scariest part of Warren County, is the level of incompetence that I am dealing with. That I first have to go on YouTube and say, look guys, first and foremost, what you did is so violating, it is so wrong, that if you do it to me, a guy that owns Phillipsburger.com, you assholes own Phillipsburger.org. Oh wait, no, it's Pberg.org. I own Pberg.com also. You lost every way possible. And the fact that you would even have the ability to soil the badge to a point where, like, look guys, I'm not saying that you have to like be fired, but you need a desk job and you got to get off the road.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
These people have to be off the road immediately. If you are a human being that is any level of federal law enforcement or any judicial oversight, please, next week's video will it'll just make you want to vomit as far as what it is that they did. And I plan on showing this judge exactly this. This is a normal human being, believe it or not, as much as you want to like blame conspiracies on all people involved. I mean, this guy could only ignore me for so long. I have no interest whatsoever in using his courtroom as some sort of a venue to enact a personal agenda. That is done on YouTube, and it is not my fault that I was arrested. The entire concept that I am to blame for the actions of other people is laughable to me, and I'm trying to keep a straight face because I couldn't have proven my point any better of why certain places do not deserve talented individuals to help them, because they are supportive of horrible conduct. Horrible, absolutely horrible, atrocious conduct. That if we ever saw children acting the way these officers acted, we would scold them like crazy. But because they have this illusion of power, this systemic bully gang mentality, we are all afraid of them. My name is Dan Reeses. I've been in the craziest situations you can imagine. I couldn't even believe the way I was treated when I tried to speak to them about the court orders that are being generated, and I wasn't even given a chance to speak.
No, you were told to shut up.
It doesn't matter, because I could have resolved this conflict by showing them the court orders that are on my side and explaining to them that, hey, this is a serious matter, these men are taking my property, that even if I don't have the right, even your brains, to be here, the stuff that's in my building is my property.
Right.
But instead of anyone listening to me, I was told to shut up. Like, how am I supposed to, like, that's why you guys can't win in court.
Literally in the middle of robbing you.
And that's an act of robbery.
Right.
When you guys are watching, that's an act of crime. That is a crime scene that was not only tainted by the Phillipsburger Police Department, they arrested the guy whose property it was and who was trying to stop a crime. The actual police department arrested the guy that was stopping the crime, trying to save his own property. Have you guys lost your minds? Has everyone completely lost their minds completely?
Yes.
It is complete insanity. If I don't get an immediate apology and a fucking check from Phillipsburger Police Department for what they did, I'm filing a federal injunction against the entire Warren County. This is fucking bullshit. You guys have lost your minds.
Yeah.
Like, you have all lost your minds. You're sitting there on your fucking phones, bleeding brain cells as taxpayer dollars are just burned through by human beings who do nothing but sit vaping all day and bullying business owners and innocent people, while criminals laugh it up.
Your shit.
Like, criminals are stealing shit left and right, and guys like me are like, yo, what's up? Oh, we did? That was a long video.
Yeah, I know.
We should do one. We should post one of the videos today. Just at least one of the ones of me being slammed against the fucking, me trying to tell them that this is an active crime scene. What you're about to watch is me trying to tell the officers that I'm having $10 million worth of my shit stolen at the same time as the building was stolen from me, and I had the legal paperwork to prove everything. But instead of having a chance to speak to law enforcement officers, I'm thrown against the car, thrown into a jail. I am laughed at, ridiculed, harassed, yelled at, but at no time does anyone allow me a chance to speak or enact my constitutional rights.
No, absolutely.
And this is 2024 that this happened in.
23, I think,
23?
right before 24.
The point is, it happened long after the defund police argument, after George Floyd. Like, the actions of the officers are so disgusting. Especially the one that looks like Aaron Hernandez. There's this one officer, Aaron Hernandez looking motherfucker. He's got this fucking whatever. And I'm so angry at every single person in the state of New Jersey that just continuously allows these people to collect a fucking income and a pension and just bully people like myself, when criminals, there were 9 criminals in there, active, massive drug users, drug addicts, burglars, active warrants. Nobody even checked their records or ID. No one even gave a shit.
Nope.
You're in my building stealing my shit and arresting me. You think that's cool? I'm pissed. I gotta cut this video.
You should be pissed.
I'm fucking pissed. I want answers next week. I expect everyone to be. When is it? When is the?
Oh, next
You didn't put it up?
Wednesday.
Oh, I guess. All right, cool. That's one mistake. It's okay. Next Wednesday, I better see everybody in Phillipsburg Courthouse at Judge Shane, who's right here, where I better get some answers.